Hello, all my beautiful people. It is time once again for another amazing episode of If You Give a Dad a Podcast. So, this week I have with me somebody that I have been trying to get on for a minute. Ever since I first was introduced to him, I've been talking to him about coming on the show. And a few months ago, he reached out to me and told me, yeah, okay, I think I'm ready to come on the show. It's something we want to talk about, and that's NCAA football and how it should look in the future. And the guy that I'm talking about is Christopher Allred. He is the owner and promoter of Crown Championship Wrestling. Great guy, a lot of fun to talk to. It went a little longer than I usually do for the show, and the funny thing is even after I quit recording, we probably talked for another 45 minutes. And I was very glad to be able to have him on this week. We discuss everything from football to wrestling and how he started his wrestling company, his background in it, as well as a bunch of other really cool subjects. He had some really good stories. So I'm very excited about that. And if you guys are as excited as I am, then let's get this show on the road.
If You Give a Dad a Podcast. Hey, Dad.
Get back in your car! Go! Get out of here! You can't be here!
I wasn't about to call you Dad, so.
Seriously?
Just for the, the work rate, brother.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she said he looked like an old piece of leather.
Wow.
Supernatural, which is by far one of my favorite shows, and I will be talking a lot about Supernatural. I will be quoting Supernatural.
Bro.
I just remember because they also, everybody, whenever they came to the ring, goes, ooh, 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 ooh.
What? Okay, before I get started, you ever had a design in mind and you wanted to put it on a shirt or a hat or a cup, but you just didn't know who to go to? Well, come on over to R&L Designs, where they make all of your custom needs come true. They make custom hats, they make custom shirts, they make custom mugs, they even do the tumblers and the glass mugs as well. They do key fobs even. They have great prices, and they have a reasonable turnaround time. If you need anything custom, these are the people that you need to hit up today. You can find them on Facebook, and that is at R&L Designs. You can also find them on Instagram at R&L Designs 19. They have a Facebook page. They have an Instagram page. They update it regularly with new products. You can also message them if you have something in mind. Hit them up today for all of your custom needs. Give them a like, give them a follow. All right, everybody. So today I have with me Christopher Allred. He is the promoter and owner of Crown Championship Wrestling. It's a guy that I've actually got to know pretty well. I think I've started talking to him quite a bit. I've been to 2 of his shows, and I am very excited to talk with him today. Chris, how are you doing?
Hey, Jared, doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It's finally time. I was a little mad at you for a little bit. I won't lie. You never give me a shout out. 80% of your content is from our shows there at Crown. I'm like, dude, you can throw a dog a bone once in a while. Come on. Let me eat.
Yeah, I wanted to say something. I think I brought you up maybe once or twice in the show and everything, but I was really waiting because I wanted to get you on the show. I know whenever I went to the first show, I think I actually saw you. It was like a week or so later. You were at the Comic-Con there in Rogers.
Right.
And I think I started bugging you right away about trying to get you to come on the show. And, I'm very excited that you're here now. Sorry I didn't.
I am kind of a hard guy to pin down. I got I got a corporate job that takes 10, 12 hours of my life every day.
Yes.
And the wrestling promotion that probably needs 10 to 12 hours of my life every day. And
Yep.
then I've got, another little thing I'm cooking up, doing some training, doing a little bit of studying to try to become a licensed insurance agent. And
Oh.
that is kicking my ass. But that's my exit strategy from my corporate job that'll open up the world to having more time and hopefully more money and just more flexibility to push wrestling even harder.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, you always got to try to have that next plan or that next step planned out,
Absolutely. No backward steps.
No backwards.
You keep grinding, keep moving, keep pushing. And when opportunities come, you really got to be in a position to be able to take advantage of them.
Yeah.
Just jump on them.
Yeah. Well, and you were talking about you being a busy man and stuff. I can vouch for that. Seeing the things that you go above and beyond to do your promoting and stuff. I think the coolest thing that I've seen so far is the billboard that was there off Rainbow Curve in Bentonville. I was like, hey, I know those guys. So it was really cool to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we call in the professional world the marketing mix. How are you going to spend those advertising dollars?
Right.
Where do you get the best bang for your buck? Where do you get what actually delivers results?
Mm-hmm.
And so I try a little bit of everything. I really like the yard signs. Put out 100. I spend way too much money because people take them. They get picked up by road crew. But I like them. I want to do something a little bit different going forward.
Okay.
Still be stupid money, but if someone's going to take your stuff, I say make them work for it. So I want to make it harder. You can't jump out of your car and go grab a sign and it's a little stake in the road.
There
So
you go.
we're gonna make you. If you want to steal our signs and steal our banners, yeah, we're gonna make you earn it.
I noticed you've been kind of stepping up on the merch and stuff too. I've seen the patches and all that stuff, and the shirts and the hats and all kinds of stuff that I've been seeing. So I'm very excited to be able to get a hold of some of that.
I've got some real cool shirts coming, and I've spent a crazy amount of money to get our merchandise, and all that is really part of the plan. I'm a very big stickler, very disciplined to the plan. Now with merchandise, it's an impulse buy. People want a souvenir from the show.
Right.
But I wasn't too crazy about dropping $2,500 in inventory.
Yeah.
Not knowing what color people want, not knowing what sizes, what
Yeah.
designs they like. And so I thought I'd do some, buy ahead and made to order type stuff. And it didn't really work. So I didn't really have people there pushing the merch and selling it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important too. You got to have engaging people, a good smiling face that will, convince people they need to spend a few bucks.
Right.
But that was part of it too. I wanted to make sure we had a fan base.
Mm-hmm.
We want a fan base that would become a repeat fan base. And that's part of just the customer service.
Yeah.
And then also I want to make sure that the demand wasn't just, people say, oh, if you had this, I'd buy it. No. I want to hear from you 2-3 times. Tell me over and over that, hey, can I get a shirt? Can I get whatever? And
Right.
so it's time. And part of that too was what we run shows. We take the profit. And that's one thing that I'm proud to say. I've never lost money on a wrestling show.
That's
Never
cool.
once. Don't
That's
plan on
good.
doing that ever. And because people call it the business, but they don't treat it as such. This ain't a
Right.
hobby for me. A lot of people have hit me up in a lot of different ways, and some have been kind of harsh on. But I'm like, straight up, dude, this ain't a hobby.
Yeah.
If you're not serious about wrestling, I'm not serious about you. Go on about your way.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, it's a way of life.
Yeah, and well, for some people, that's how they make their living. And
Yeah.
for me, luckily, I've been pretty smart with my money, except for wrestling. I dropped $80,000 to start a wrestling company,
Oh man.
which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well.
But you got to buy new, and it's got to be perfect, and it's got to be just the best that you can possibly get. I had a friend years and years ago that confided in me that he lost 40 grand doing wrestling in Fort Worth, and he was top level.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, how in the world can you lose 40 G's in wrestling? It's like, how do you even buy that much stuff to spend 40? Now I know. Truck, ring, trailer, computers.
Yeah.
bought iMacs. I bought a brand new laptop to be able to run the Photoshop and all the Adobe software to do video editing. And then I got a bigger iMac to really get like good stuff. And cameras. People wanted way too much money to come film for one day. So that's just kind of, Jared, I'll give everybody the trick to doing business with me on anything in life. I'll give you an opportunity. You need to take it and blow it off because you don't get a second chance. But also, if you just come at me in the wrong way, always, no, F you. I'll do it myself. I'll find another way.
Yeah.
And so if you try to finesse me, that don't work either. You don't hustle a hustler. You don't work a worker. We're going to find ways to work around you, and you're left out in the cold, and you lost your opportunity.
Right.
So those that wanted stupid money to come film for a couple hours, no, I went out and spent $3,000 to buy my own cameras. I'll find people around them. Now that hasn't worked out the way I thought it would, because the camera operators I went and found were awful. They're terrible. Gave me absolutely useless footage. So eventually, maybe somewhere down the road we'll release some of that, but don't expect it. And I don't know. I just went off on a tangent there. How much money we spent. Not at all in Kansas City yet. Just a couple of days ago. The trussing, the lights, we're gonna have full production. That's the plan for 2023. We're gonna see a very methodical, very laid out course of action that I've had on paper for 20 something years. All the ideas I had in the late 90s, we're going back to them. My mind hasn't changed. My ideas of how to do business and how to promote wrestling and how to present it to the public in a big way, that's never changed. We just kind of tweaked it a little bit. And so we're gonna be a one-stop, turnkey, just that traveling gypsy carny wrestling roadshow.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. And you were talking about the video and stuff. I actually did get a pretty cool video, and I actually got to share it with XCal today. The show that you did in Bentonville, there was a move that they did. XCal was up on the top rope, and he did a moonsault off to Justin Lee. And Justin Lee got his foot right up in the air, and I was in the second row that night, and I was just at the perfect angle, and I was able to get that, and I sent it to him today, and he was like, "Where did you find that?" And I was like, "I took it." So
on my phone, son.
That's right.
Can you believe 20-something years of them starting, in Justin's backyard, they never had a one-on-one match?
That's what he told me. I was like, really? That blew me away. I know that they had started out, in the backyard wrestling together, and he said that was the first time. So you couldn't tell by the way that they worked together.
It was so smooth. It's so nice. And,
yeah.
We'll put them together again soon. Justin's got that. He's got that belt. He's going to have to defend it.
Yeah.
And, Nayati he's wanting it. He's wanting the chance, and I think we'll give it to him here soon. We'll just have to work it out.
Awesome. Yeah. I've had Justin on here, and he's a pretty awesome guy. He gets you excited whenever he's talking. So I'm looking to probably have him on again and everything. And then I've been talking with XCal about having him on. I think I've got him scheduled in November to come on the show.
Nice.
So
yeah. Justin's great. Yeah, I actually like him a lot more than I thought I would. I wasn't sure about telling him that. Tulsa and Oklahoma wrestling is so dysfunctional. The guy that I really got the bulk of my training from lives in Tulsa, still does. He just never worked there. So much personality conflicts, and people just kind of broke off into their own camp. Like, I'm with this guy, I'm with that guy, I'm with this guy. And it was just never mix. And
right.
Justin was on the other side of the fence, and of course, being here in Arkansas, Oklahoma. There's too many guys. Everyone worked for free. You go to a card, and there'd be 30 guys just hoping to get a match. I'm like, this is not really the scene I like.
Yeah.
We got other places to go. Let's go travel. Let's go have fun. Let's have some adventure and make some memories. Because also in Tulsa, places they like to run every week in the same spot.
Yeah.
I think that's bad business, unless you're in a huge metro like Los Angeles, where there's 20 million people, and you're going to get your 200 every week, no matter what. So I like to take it back old school. That's what we're doing with Crown. I fully believe we need to retrain wrestling crowds.
Yeah.
And what I do wholeheartedly, no one will ever tell me any different, because my opinion is correct on this. What made wrestling so hot in the late 70s and the 80s with what you saw in the ring mirrored what was happening in real life.
Yeah.
They just took whatever was in pop culture, brought it to the ring, made the characters out of it, did the storylines, whatever was going on in politics in the world, that became part of the show. And it just, amped it up a little bit, made it a little more wrestling-like, and told the story that way. Because it makes, people can relate to that. That's
Right.
the most important part about your wrestling show. It's got to be relatable. It's got to be easy storylines, easy things for people to, just for them to comprehend. And from there, you just, try to surprise them.
Yeah.
That's also a very important thing is, fans think they're going to get one thing, always swerve them. A swerve, with a swerve on top. And that's how you get them and hook them is that even if you give them what they expected, but you do it in an unexpected way, that's part of the mix and the special sauce that we have here at Crown. And why we have the crowds that we have, and the energy is what it is.
Right.
And why we haven't had a flat match. Seriously, we haven't had a flat match yet. That's pretty impressive for any place you go. I don't put throwaway matches in there.
Right.
Try not to look in trainees that are just, because they're cheap and they'll work for nothing, or they're, no. That's why we have our pay it forward shows.
Right.
That's coming up October 8th, West Fork, Arkansas. That's another part of the plan that has always been there is for Crown and for what I did way back in 2002. And I would go travel around. I would cherry pick the best of the best guys that I thought could work the best together. And then I'd bring them from like 5 or 6 different places. And then you do that, you have a top to bottom card that is top notch, that just can't be beat. There's not a throwaway match at all at any Crown show because of that.
Yeah. And like you said with the crowd, I have not seen a dead crowd when I've came to one of those shows either. They have been very hot, very loud, very involved in the show. And I believe that it has to do with the amount of amazing talent and that you've had on the show. And like you said, there haven't been any flat matches. And the crowd definitely tells you that.
Puzzle. Yeah, it's every little piece of the puzzle working the right way. It's how I promote it. It's how I push it. It's how I go on the streets and I talk to people. I shake hands and I invite them and I tell them what's going to go on. I do it in a way that gets them intrigued.
Yeah.
But if the guys in the ring don't perform, if they don't execute the vision, because I give them a lot of freedom. It's just one of the things about me. I don't care how you do your match as long as you don't screw it up, as long as you don't botch things and you tell the story. That's one thing that if anyone ever gets anything from me, I want it to be this. Whatever time I've done in wrestling, how many awful matches I've been a part of, and how many promotions that started and failed and immediately were done. That's probably, what I've learned the most from is what not to do. But this is and I have a bunch of rules of wrestling, and just life and philosophies. But this is the one most important thing about wrestling that I hope everyone can take. Everyone. Tell the story in steps, not leaps.
Yeah.
What made Breaking Bad so good for me was it was such a slow burn. You had the time to take it in, to think about it, to really absorb the story. And my analogy on that is, let's just pretend we're sitting on the front porch, just watching cars drive by. Okay. Here we are, having a drink, a beer, a lemonade, tea, whatever you like.
Right.
And the car goes by at 15 miles an hour. It's just creeping along. I guarantee you can tell me what color it was. You can tell me the make, the model, the year, if it had tinted windows, if the back bumper had a dent in it.
Right.
How many doors? What song was playing on the radio when it went by?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next car that goes by, if it's just screaming by at 75 miles an hour, one, you may not have even seen it. You for sure can't tell me if it was a truck, an SUV. Good luck telling me what year it was made.
Right.
You might get the color, maybe.
Yeah.
Could you tell me if it was two-tone? Could
No.
you tell me what color rims are on it? No, you can tell me nothing about it.
Right.
So that's a problem we have in the indies. We try to do way too much, way too fast. And I say, we talk about slowing it down in the ring, but you can also slow it down in the book.
Yeah.
and how you're booking shows and how you're telling those stories. And for me, the best matches and the things I ever had were when I got a chance to actually do a program with a guy and do a story over 6-8 months, multiple matches, multiple shows, and that's when it gets fun. So, yeah. Tell the story in sets, not leaps.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Whenever you're saying that, I close my eyes and listen to that analogy, and you're totally right. And I hear that all the time. It's about slowing down, taking your time. Because the crowd has to have time to digest what's going on.
Absolutely. And at this level, we don't have TV every week. We don't have distribution.
Yeah.
So you can't just assume that the crowd's going to know what's going on.
Right.
So we Tahlequah Friday, and I kind of told some kids this was like, whatever your character is, they don't know you. You can't assume that they know what you did in Tulsa 3 weeks ago. And you know what, if you went to Dallas and did a match with a guy, no one here saw it. No one cares. You got to start from scratch every show. And the more times you're in a place, the more time the crowd sees you, you can kind of fast forward a little bit. You can't skip steps. You got to go back to go from square one, and you might be able to get to point 5 a little quicker, a little faster, and advance whatever you're doing with your character and whatever the story is. But if you want to get everybody involved, get them on their feet, get them absorbed and invested, then every show you got to go back to square one, start from scratch, and retell the story, add the layers on top. Just keep building that birthday cake.
Right.
And eventually, you get to the point where you can blow out some candles.
I've actually there is one that I found online. Joe Helms actually is the one who. There's a few other guys, but he was the one who was really kind of promoting it. And it's the SICW show, and it's on Facebook and YouTube. And
right.
I don't know if you've got to watch any of their product or not, but they've kind of made
basic.
Yeah, it's pretty basic and everything, but they're able to present a story every week, but they're taking it slow, as just like you said. They're not just rushing into things, and it's nice to see that. It's different than what you see on TV, and that's not letting you say that the stuff on TV isn't any good, because I'm actually enjoying what's been going on with a lot of the.
Good for you, because I think it's trash.
Oh, really?
I haven't watched the big promotions in 10+ years.
Yeah, I like how
every time I try to watch SmackDown, they got some chicks on there that are trying to cut a promo, and it's just unbearably awful. So click on to the next.
Yeah.
I'll do something else in my life.
They had some pretty good stuff, especially. Everybody's been saying this, but I fall right into this crowd. I like to see what Triple H is doing, because whenever he was in charge of NXT, I loved that. I thought it was a lot of fun to watch. In fact, there was a point where that's all I was watching. I was not watching Raw. I was not watching SmackDown. I was just watching NXT. And it's because he still... It almost seemed like he still had enough in the business, like in the wrestler's mindset, to make it where it worked on both sides. And,
I'd heard that. I have no friends. Luckily, I'm on Facebook, so I don't have to watch everything, because everybody comments on it, and I can kind of piece things together by just reading people's comments.
Yeah.
But, hopefully, and people have been wanting to change with the big boys. You got to get back to the basics and kind of get back to what wrestling is.
Right.
And, everything's on a cycle.
Yeah.
That's one thing about wrestling. Everything's on a cycle. It's going to come and go, and it's going to end up full circle. So I would imagine in 5 years from now, hardcore will be back.
Yes. Well, I mean, with what just happened last night and everything, I don't know if you read any of that, but I mean, they were bleeping out, F-bombs and stuff on there. They said they weren't going to go away from PG, but, they'll make it to where they can bleep that stuff out now. So,
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the big thing of why Crown is what it is.
Yeah.
When I was kicking around, coming back and doing some shows, I just didn't think I had that top baby face sell tickets. And here in Northwest Arkansas, we don't have a good, strong wrestling base. It was never a territory town. Never grew. We don't have any old wrestlers that live here. And so there's just not that connection. So it's like, if I don't have that top baby face, then the promotion itself has to become the baby face.
Right.
So that's why we don't do no gratuitous blood. We don't do cursing. We don't do alcohol references. We don't do drug references. No sexual innuendo. I want to keep it clean for the kiddos. Because that's when we became wrestling fans ourselves when we were kids.
Right.
And hey, Jared, that swerve I was going to tell you about, here it is.
Okay.
No one's asked you about your take on being a dad. It's called If You Give a Dad a Podcast.
Yeah.
Being a parent, it's so hard to find things you can take your kids to that are clean and appropriate.
Right.
And don't have a lot of dirt and nastiness.
Mm-hmm.
So, for you, Jared, what are you seeing in the world being a dad? Trying to navigate all the minefields out there.
Well, it's like you said, it's definitely a minefield, and you do have to be very careful with what you expose your kids to and everything. And I will say that Crown Championship was the show that it was my son's first show, it was my daughter's first show, and it was my first show. It was a Crown Championship wrestling show. And so it was nice to find something that was clean for the family, because there's not a lot that you can find nowadays that is acceptable for your kids, because I was raised a little bit more old school than most people my age. So my morals and standards are probably a little bit different than most my age. So yeah, it is difficult, and it's a scary place, the world itself, when it comes to being a parent. And it's nice to be able to find things like the Crown show, or, if we go to any of the other ones, I know that it's going to be safe for me to take my kids there.
Awesome. You don't know how important that is. It blows me away every time.
Yeah.
Someone said the first live pro wrestling show they went to was ours.
Yeah.
That's such an honor. It really is for all of us in the back to put together to just know that you have that trust in us.
Yes.
We don't take that lightly. That's an important thing. We'll never lose that aspect of what we do and why we're doing it.
Yeah.
It does. It just blows me away that people would choose us. Sight unseen, take the risk on us.
Yeah.
And especially if anyone knew how I got into wrestling and how I started and the characters I was doing and just how off the wall and in your face and shocking I was trying to be, just to cause problems, I guess, just to have havoc.
Well, that is something I did want to ask you, is how did you actually get into the wrestling business?
100% by accident.
Really?
Yep. Never anything I wanted to do, was never a dream of mine. Being a kid out in the Ozarks, we got 3 channels.
Mm-hmm.
We get Saturday morning wrestling. I think I remember like a Saturday night wrestling. That was my thing, me and my grandpa.
Yeah.
We'd watch wrestling. Saturday night was hamburger night, so grandma would cook us some hamburgers. Sometimes we might get lucky and get a milkshake. And it was always like nutmeg and banana. It sounds kind of gross, but it kind of was. That's just what they liked and what they had.
Yeah.
And so eventually, fast forward a little bit, I saw a newspaper article about a place called Northwest Arkansas Pro Wrestling doing a show at the Benton County Fairgrounds. Like their first show they did was 1998. Had the peak of wrestling.
Yeah.
So me and my buddy that was into it, nothing going on, I was like, let's go check it out. So we went and bought a ticket, and it was the worst wrestling we've ever seen in our lives.
Oh, no.
Completely awful. Guys didn't have gear. They couldn't run ropes. They're gassed out within a minute. Barely could do any moves, botching everything. And I just kept nudging Kevin. I was like, bro, we could do this. Like, these guys ain't nothing. What is this crap? I'd been to, at that point in my life, one live show ever in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Ross promoted a Mid-South show at Westville, Oklahoma, his hometown. Just 6 miles down the road from where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a little more, maybe 8 or 12 or whatever. And so we went out the door, and the promoter happened to catch us going out, and he's like, "Hey, kids, what'd you think about that show?" I said, "Sir, that was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life." He was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, well, Jared, if I'm anything, I'm honest. I'm too dumb to lie. I just don't have time for it in my life. I don't want to, I'm just transparent. If there's anything you will ever say about me, I'm transparent, maybe to a fault, But if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. If it's great, it's great. And if it's something else, whatever. We'll have a conversation. We'll work it out. But that's just my morals and my ethics as well. Yep. So then we went to a tryout, like a Saturday or two later. 68 people showed up and paid $50 or whatever. They passed 6 people. My buddy Kevin and I were one. Dude named Nathan was one. Dude named Carrie, and then Wild Child, chick that did tattoos. She's like the female Undertaker, and then another guy, Ricky. Kind of been kicking around. I think he still referees a little bit over in Oklahoma.
Okay.
So we're all the ones that passed through. Other ones that didn't pass, they end up making like another BS fed. They're the throwaways.
Mm-hmm.
We worked for them. None of them were great. There's maybe 2 guys that had any kind of talent there. But so then we started training, and this dude, he tried to tell us that he was Wolfie D. And we're like, no, you're not. They're going to train me just to be like a manager, because I was part of a student group at U of A called the Bastards, and we were crazy, wild students that I could talk trash. And my buddy, he was a bigger dude. He was a wrestler. He was about 6 foot, 240. Me being, 5'5", and at that time maybe 130 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
About 155 now, packing on that dad bod a little bit. So we started training, and he had all these people believing that he was this or he was that he was like on the King of the Deathmatch tournament in Japan, and that's what Kevin and we got a bootleg version of that. We're like, oh, yeah, that's great, that's awesome. That's what we got to do with our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we doing anything else? We need to do this. And we're like, no, you aren't. It's like, we know it was such and such or whatever, because we're kind of smart marks at the time. And, just eating up anything you could get online and find.
Right.
So we actually worked him out of paying $1,500 to train. We're like, bro, we know you're not this. You train us for free. We'll keep your secret.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. They're like, you got all these other people fooled, but you're not fooling us. Straight up, no, you're not. And this dude, he was so awful. Like, there's a great story out there about him having this voice changing software.
Uh-huh.
And he would call dudes and book them on shows and convince them that they were getting signed. And they would pack up everything and move to Florida, thinking that they're on their way to wrestling, and they show up and knock on the door and no one had ever heard of them or talked to them.
Oh, no.
We got worked. I think we got worked on one show down to Warren, Arkansas. And so here's another thing I do too. And I would encourage anyone in wrestling to do this. Anywhere you think you might want to go wrestle and work, go check them out first.
Yeah.
Go buy a ticket, put in the stands. Go see if the vibe's right. Just go see if it's something you want to be a part of, something that you want to attach your name to and attach your brand to.
Yeah.
Most people that have hit me up to come wrestle with us don't take me up on that offer. I don't know why, but they should. Because we got to Warren, Arkansas in the middle of December. The venue was some 1932 built gym that had been shut down for 20 years, and some nonprofit was working out a part of it. And Big Shroyle was over there sex talking her boyfriend about what they're going to do that night while we're sitting there just waiting for the guy to come open the gym up.
Oh, no.
And we talked to some people that were also on that show. We roll up and Really Deep Charisma and the Cadillac Brothers. So these Memphis dudes, they show up at the same time. They're like, oh, dude, we got work. Like, there's no way this show is going on.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, we'll wait. I'll call this guy. And he kept, we'll be there in a few minutes. I'm just coming down the road. And get something to eat. Didn't notice any posters. Another thing, too, you roll into a town and you see no posters up. It's going to be a bad show.
Yeah.
If we're promoting and doing the street work, it's going to be a bad show. If you show up and the guys, are going over their match and they're calling the moves, not by their actual names, but by the wrestler that did it, they're like, all right, I'm going to go to the top rope. Give me the Ric Flair. Oh, my God. That's going to be a bad match. It's going to be a bad match. And then there's another rule that people don't like, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I feel in wrestling, if you show up to a show and the wrestlers' wives and girlfriends are not attractive ladies, just enormously disgusting beast of women, you should probably just get back in your car and go home and call the loss. Because those aren't real wrestlers. Those aren't pro wrestlers by any means. They're hobbyists. They're part-timers.
Yeah.
Those guys that self-train themselves. You're probably going to get hurt that night.
Right.
And you're not going to sell any merch. You're not going to probably not even get the pay that was agreed to.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel if you're going to be successful in pro wrestling, you have some level of charisma. You have some level of something in your life that you can sweet talk a girl into being your gal. You can't do that. How are you going to get 100 people to cheer for you?
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't do that. Well, one, you're probably not even getting 100 people in the room, and that's some of my rules. If you can't sell 100 tickets, get out of the business. It's
Right.
not for you.
Yeah.
Leave it to some professionals like us that know how to talk people to the door.
Yeah.
Because a bad show, the term out there that Cornette uses, what's he call it, an outlaw mud show. A bad show will kill a town for 2 years.
Oh yeah.
It absolutely, they will think back to the guys that showed up and wrestled in gym shorts and dirty sneakers
Mm-hmm.
with a low boy ring that was maybe not even a ring itself.
Mm-hmm.
No PA, no lights, no smoke, no sound, no gear, no production, and awful in-match wrestling for $5.
Yeah.
But that will kill a town for at least 10 years. I
Do
think
you-
Joplin might be ready for wrestling again. It's
That's
been
good.
15 to 20-ish. They might just be ready. I don't know yet.
Do you think that's what happened in the Northwest Arkansas area? Because, like you said, you went to that show and it was just awful.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. The third reincarnation of NWA PW.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to a guy named Lance, and he had like a roofing company.
Mm-hmm.
And he was an okay guy. He put some money into it, but he wasn't, a business guy. And that didn't go well for him. Here's another part of my rules of wrestling. Okay, it was called Southeast Championship Wrestling. A dude named Paul Eubanks took over. He was a manager at Regina's, the strip clubs.
Oh, okay.
Another thing you find in wrestling, wrestlers and strippers go together just like rock stars and porn stars go together.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same life, the same work. And so I happened to kind of met Paul through that because I was a wild boy. I was, dating strippers and just being crazy. And we knew we had this wrestling persona. And so we went out and just would work the bars, and we would just be our characters.
Mm-hmm.
Be wrestling. And my buddy Kevin, Lord bless his heart, he's passed since, but that boy could work wrestling at any conversation and turn around to, hey, come watch our show. Hey, we're going to be here. We're going to do this, or we're training. We're going to be putting on shows.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lost art promoting that people just don't have names anymore.
Yeah.
Yep. So getting back to my first story was, so then it became SECW. They drew 600 people to the fairgrounds. They had Dan Severn, who at the time was the NWA World Champion.
Oh.
And Bam Terry Gordy. He was fantastic. He was probably, Severn and Gordy were probably the two old guys that were the best to us nobodies, us youngins.
Mm-hmm.
They chit chat with us, they talk to us. And around here too, here's some old guys that came through that were just awful people.
Yeah.
Never meet your heroes because you're going to be disappointed.
Right.
And then guys were just kind of hanging around trying to get their last little bit that were jealous of these new kids coming through because we would steal the show. I mean, we didn't know nothing about nothing, green as can be. And we would just go entertain. We'd just go, just talk to the crowd and just, be on a personal level with everybody and just rile them up. Not just completely faking it, not even making it, but just faking it, just getting by however we could and learning on the fly and teaching ourselves.
Yeah.
These old dudes coming through, they weren't helping us no bit. So, well, screw them.
Was it more of just trying to bury the talent because they were
Oh
scared?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're jealous. They wanted their money. They didn't want no one else to beat them out.
Right.
And just, I don't know. But back to, here's one of my rules too. I don't book in old guys.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to be a gravy train for them.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a return on the investment. The ROI is not there. And here's why. Okay, so Paul and those boys that put on that big show that was successful, except for this part, they had booked Jim the Anvil Neidhart. It's his very first post WWF show.
Mm-hmm.
That dude, they bought him a first class plane ticket. He took that plane ticket and cashed it in with the airline. Never got on the plane.
Oh,
Took his
wow.
$2,000 or whatever and just sat his ass at home. Job
Wow.
was completely working.
Man.
So I learned that because I was supposed to be at the airport to pick him up. I was like, so I know what this guy looks like, and I've been sitting here, and he sure hasn't walked off this plane.
Oh, no. How long did you stay and wait?
until they told me to come on back. I don't even know.
Wow.
I was having to run to payphones. No one had cell phones back then.
Yeah, that's what I was.
I had a cell phone in 1995, but Alltel was pretty expensive, and that
Is
was
it,
definitely not something I could afford at that point to have.
I remember my uncle having one of those ones that was like in a bag and it was in his truck.
Bad car phones.
Yeah,
Don't use it while you're in your car. So
exactly.
worthless.
Yeah. And he was always like, "Oh no, we don't want to use that. It's too expensive to talk to anybody on it." I was like, oh, okay.
You gotta wait till 9 o'clock to call people.
Exactly.
Then finally, Sprint came with like 7 p.m. free calls. And
Yep.
then you had to know what time zone you and your buddy were in. Because
Yep.
if you mix up the time zone, you're going to pay crazy money. It's like 100 minutes a month or something that you got in your plan. And like, we're going to use 100 minutes tonight.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when I got my first cell phone, it was something like that. And I think I got 200 long, it's back when long distance was still a thing. And I had 200 long distance minutes, and I could talk to people. It was after 7 o'clock, and so it was nights and weekends is what they gave me. Mm-hmm. So I was back when cricket was just getting started and stuff. So
Cricket would have been nice back in my day because it was like 40, 50, 60 bucks a month.
I paid $35 a month. So it was not bad at all. But then I thought it'd be cool and switch over to AT&T and, they just rake you over the coals.
They tricked you with the phone plan. You get a much better phone and you got like a big boy network.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I've done the opposite for probably since 2010.
Yeah.
I go with the third party carriers.
Oh, do you?
Okay, give me that flat rate
Yeah.
plan. You're still going to use the same towers as AT&T and whatever else, but I'm going to go with third party and pay $35 a month, $40 a month for what you're charging me, $120.
Yeah, I went with Straight Talk for a while, and that wasn't a bad deal. I paid $45 a month for unlimited, and I got like 20 gigs of data a month. That was plenty. So
as long as you're a little bit tech savvy, because they have no customer support.
No, they
service,
don't.
No help if you need it. But AT&T's gone to that plan too. I think that's what I've been using for like the last year or two. Like $40 a month, really.
Right on.
Works fine for me. I'm happy with it.
Yeah. So the reason why we actually brought you on here is you reached out to me. It was a few months ago, and you said, "Okay, I'm ready to come on the show. I have something I want to talk about, and it's football, NCAA football."
So, it's right around the corner.
It is.
This is going to air Monday, right? Labor Day?
This will air Monday, yes.
Opening weekend of college football. It's just right here. I'm so close. We can taste it. And I'm probably the biggest sports nerd in the world.
All right.
And actually, I got a trophy to prove it. I won a national competition in 2008.
Really?
Being the biggest sports fan in the world. Yes.
Wow.
I was attending North Arkansas College in Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
It was part of it's called PBL, Professional Business Leaders. It's basically the FBLA, but the collegiate version.
Okay.
So, they have their little, business competition and stuff like that. So, a new thing is coming on board called Contemporary Sports Issues. Our advisor suggested me to do that, which she was in the sports, because at that point, I had created a sport called INGA, International No Name Game. Just a little.
Wait, what was it called again?
We call it INGA.
INGA.
It's a INNGA, International No Name Game, because we never could come up with a name for it. Funny enough, it was me and my buddy Jim Fallon, the eliminated Jim Fallon. We're setting up a mid-stage wrestling show there at the Fairgrounds Arena, and we found this little ball. And you know how guys are. Now you're not looking, boom, and hit your head with it.
Yeah.
Hit you with this little Nerf ball. And at one point, he picked up something and hit it back. And so I used to pitch. And they had these little concentric grooves in it, and so you could really get some spin on it. And so we're throwing these crazy curves. And then at some point on this open floor, we grab a rack of chairs, throw some carpet on it, and we just start pounding it back and forth, making it up as we went. It's kind of scored like tennis. No line, so there wasn't no out of bounds. You just had to hustle.
Uh-huh.
If I had a brother, Jim would be my brother. We're so close.
That's awesome.
Competitive in the way of it. We just push each other. Not where it's mean or, just black-hearted, but, we just want to push each other to be the best that you can. And you always need that motivating guy in your corner to pick you up when you're down or say, hey, okay, you're doing better than me. I can't let that happen. I got to I got to pick it up. So I had that. So we went to PBL, FBLA, they do their state conventions or whatever. I won second place in the states. That qualified me for national. There was a bunch of soccer questions at the state level, and I don't care about soccer. So then I went to the nationals. I qualified for 2 events, like a speaking, like a speech competition, and then this sports thing and they were both at the same time. So I had to go give my speech, run down there, do my little quiz, test, whatever. And then a couple of days later, the award ceremony. So apparently I was a finalist. They called me up on stage and they just keep naming off all these kids that got 10th, 9th, 8th from big schools, UCLA, Penn State, Florida State, actual sports marketing plans and degrees, and Baylor. And I happened to be the last one left on stage from little North Arkansas College.
Oh, wow.
Figuring out sports. So then we fast forward a little bit to where conference realignment started happening like 2008.
Mm-hmm.
12 condos, Big 12 condos all over. And so I started thinking, like, man, this version of college football is circling the drain.
Mm-hmm.
There's a problem here. People aren't going to stadiums like they were. The TV contracts are screwing the entire thing up, where it's all about, and we're seeing that now with the realignment with UCLA and USC moving to the Big Ten.
Right.
Why in the world would any school on the Pacific Ocean be in the same conference with a school in Pennsylvania and Rutgers and Michigan?
Yeah.
No sense.
Yeah, no
It's just
sense.
money play from TV markets, trying to just be a conglomerate and be a monopoly and getting the biggest fan bases together to get the biggest TV deals that they can.
Right.
It's not good for the sport. It's not good for universities. It's not good for local communities. Not at all. So back then, I came up with a plan, a post-NCAA football landscape, and that's what my passion is right now. Let's talk about this because it's relevant. I mean, and one thing I love about college sports is that once you have a team, you always have a team.
Mm-hmm.
That's your team.
Yep.
Unless you have a kid that got a scholarship to play for a different school,
Yep.
your fanship doesn't waver. It
Right.
sure doesn't. You don't
Right.
just all of a sudden become a Fresno State fan for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so I mean, I don't know if you got the map I sent to you where I broke it down.
Yeah, I've got it pulled
It's
up right now.
120 schools. Because the NCAA, this NIL, name, image, likeness deal, is going to just ruin college sports.
Right.
If we got a backup quarterback getting $1 million to do nothing before they even play it down on the same campus as kids that are humping it, working 2-3 meaningless hourly jobs, maybe having to take student loans, putting themselves $60 to $100 in debt just to get a degree to maybe just then get a $40,000 a year job.
Yeah.
And it's not a smart way to do it. I had to. I regret it, but
You did what you had to do.
And then you get these athletes that were already getting scholarship money, already getting under the table money.
Mm-hmm.
That's always been part of college football and dirty recruiting. So
Yep.
it's gotten dirtier, but now they have NIL behind it, so it's quasi-legal, whatever.
Right.
So that's what I think that's going to go to. I don't think there'll be an NCAA anymore. I think all these schools are going to band together and have their own TV deals, have their own, what's a good word to say? What would they say with it back in Indians combined together to combine forces? Conflagration? No, that's not the right word. See, this is what wrestling's done to me. I can't think. I'll forget a word as I'm saying it. I had way too many concussions. I shouldn't have taken all those chair shots. Forget trying to do math anymore. No way.
That's what a calculator's for.
Exactly. Thank God we got in our pocket now.
Right? Yeah, all those teachers that told me, you won't have a calculator all the time with you. Well, yeah, I do.
I'll have a video camera. I'll have a recorder.
Right, you got it all.
Goes around that shows all that stuff on a table of all the equipment that is now in a cell phone.
Yeah. I saw another one that was kind of like that, and it was an ad from Radio Shack in the 90s, and it says your phone can do every single one of these things that all of these electronics can do.
Yep, that's the one. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
So Jared, where's your fanship when it comes to football and college sports?
I'm an Arkansas Razorbacks fan. I always have been. You know, I was raised around Memphis area and stuff until I was probably a junior in high school. So I was raised around a lot of Arkansas State fans and a lot of Memphis University fans and stuff. But I've always been a Razorbacks fan myself.
So you're telling me if somebody told you they're Wolfie D, you know the difference?
Yes.
Right on. All right. So our Razorbacks, you know, I call him the Godfather Frank, Frank Boyles. He was visionary. He saw what was going on with the Southwest Conference, SWC. We had to get out of there. We were the only school that wasn't a Texas school. And everyone would tell you how awful Texas referees were. And now we would just get screwed all the time. And how terrible being in the conference with Texas was. So he saw what was going. He moved us to the Southeast Conference. And that was really the first major shift in conferences in college football. When the SEC expanded to 12 schools, bringing in South Carolina and Arkansas. You know, we were the lever. You know, we were the stir that mixed the drinks, or the straw that stirs the drink. Yeah, I screwed that up. Oh well. But, and that's just has snowballed.
Yeah.
Where the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference is no more. The Big Sky is no more. Big Ten combined. The Big 8 is no more. You know, the Big 12 is soon to be no more.
Right.
You know, and it's going to be a push to just 4 major conferences, I think. They'll have all the big boys, and the rich keep getting richer, and everybody else is just begging for scraps.
Yeah.
So I came up with this plan where it's 120 schools, 12 10-team conferences that end up with a 16-team playoff. And, you know, if they're for anything with college sports, we're traditionalists. You know, we love the ranking systems and the polls. We love the bowls at the end of the year. And this pretty much incorporates all that. You know, we're gonna move these conferences to be more regionally based. So you do have the ability to have those local, close rivalries.
Yes.
So that's just what sports are all about. You know?
Yeah, I totally agree.
You know, my team versus your team, my town versus your town 5 miles down the road. We're gonna lock them up. You know, we're gonna go see who's the best, who's got bragging rights.
Well, that's the way it is with high school ball, you know, and it's always a lot of fun. It's exciting.
Absolutely. You know, it's just togetherness. That's one thing that I think moving to the way college sports are going, we're going to have so much less of that. If you're Joe Blow in Des Moines, Iowa, are you gonna drive to LA to watch your Hawkeyes against Southern Cal?
No.
2 damn day drive.
Yeah.
Out there. And then a day, maybe 2 days you're going to take a week off work.
Right.
Just 2 days out, spend a day or two maybe out there, maybe see the sights for the day, then 2 days back home.
How many games are you actually going to get to watch?
People be sitting at home on the TV, and that's what they're banking on. People are not doing.
Yeah.
And maybe part of that is too the conspiracy of the leftists and electric cars and getting people away from internal combustion engines, where they don't have what they call a distance of 300 miles.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe that's part of it too, but I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not either. You know, you're going to start seeing those cars break down, and then there's going to be people just being. Every time I think of it, I always think of these cars turning into wagons and having horses pull them because they don't work anymore.
Oh, they won't. I saw something the other day, like a Chevy Volt, like a 2013 Chevy Volt worth maybe $8,000 now. How to replace that battery? Those batteries might get you 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
It was $29,000 to replace the battery in an $8,000 car.
Oh my goodness, that doesn't even make sense.
No, none of it does.
No.
None of it does.
Yeah, I could definitely.
Hopefully my map here for college football will make some sense.
Yeah.
We've got the Pacific Northwest schools grouped together. We got Washington State, Oregon State, Idaho, which has Boise State. I kicked out Idaho. And then I brought in Montana and Montana State. These are like FCS Division II schools that get 20,000 to 25,000 people for a home game.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking at this, and you actually have A&M with LSU. It looks like okay.
A&M and Texas cannot coexist.
No, they can't. Which right now, currently, aren't they? They have to because they're both in SEC, aren't they?
Texas is coming back. Texas
Yep.
is coming back hand in hand. So let's go to Texas and like the South. That's relevant to us. One thing I did, I kicked out schools that couldn't put 15,000 people in the stands.
Right.
Much like my rule to wrestling, if you can't get 100 tickets, 100 people in the stands, get the hell out.
Yep.
If you can't draw 15,000 people to your football game, get the hell out.
Yeah.
You're not our level. You got to go. You got to just drop down. You just have to.
Yeah.
And in that map, you see kind of Rice is sort of in there as well. So that's a fun talking point. It's like, so do we include Rice? Do we want to be a little more regional and have Rice and Houston and A&M in that same grouping with, well, now they call themselves University of Louisiana, but
Right.
so what's those? UL Lafayette. And I've got Southern, I've got Tulane, we've got LSU, and we've got Jackson State, and Southern Miss, and Louisiana Tech, and Grambling all in that one grouping.
Yes.
Now, what's the better play? Do we keep Rice down there in the South, or do we maybe give Grambling up to the Arkansas one, where we got Arkansas and Tulsa and OSU and OU and TCU and BYU and SMU, along with the two Kansas schools, K-State and Kansas?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I also moved Arkansas State out of the Arkansas Conference. We can't coexist either.
Yeah, I did see that. I actually agree with that a lot because they just no, they're on two different levels for one when it comes to football, and I don't see them being in the same conference. It just wouldn't work.
If they want that ass beaten every year, they can come get it.
Exactly.
And that will give, and part of this too, so it's 10 teams in the conference, so you get 9-game round robins. If we still win a 12-game season, that gives you 3 out of conference games, and and no cupcake games. I think that's also another bad thing. Is say OU plays Western Carolina. I mean, the Catamounts have no chance. They might get out of there with a 62-point beatdown.
Yeah.
It could be worse. And that's not good for business. That's not good for football. It's not good for those kids who just can't compete at the highest level. They just don't have the size or the talent or the athletic ability.
Right.
That's what are you trading for? $500,000 payout. So,
Yeah.
So the plan of this: have our round robins, have our conferences, have the ability to have these out of conference games that aren't going to kill you in a playoff situation. Because right now, you lose one game, you're pretty much out of the picture. If you're not a top 5 school at the beginning of the year, which is pointless, why are there preseason rankings that are determining the course of the season before anyone's played a snap? That's so dumb. It means nothing. And then voters, like these pollsters, they have their own biases. They have to prove themselves to be right. So they're not voting with pure objectivity. They're just not. So doing this, where there's a playoff at the end of the year, 16 teams, there's 12 conferences, the winner gets an automatic bid. That leaves us 4 wild cards. And then the rankings are just for seeding purposes.
Yeah. Okay. I think this makes a lot more sense than what is, going on right now.
Here's my nerd. That's all my nerd stuff is just sports stuff. I don't really collect anything. One thing you also hear me talk about when it comes to wrestling is just like for recruiting. I'm going to start recruiting next year. So there's the other big announcement for Crown Championship Wrestling. I'm going to start recruiting wrestlers. I'm gonna do it my way.
Okay.
My way is a little different, but we're gonna start recruiting dudes. I'm gonna do it very methodically.
You gonna start? Are you going to other shows and stuff?
Oh no! I'm talking about people to get into the business.
Oh, okay. I get you now.
Trainees.
I got you. All right.
Because we're awful about cannibalizing our crowd in wrestling. That's sort of the life cycle of wrestling. Is you go just like me and everybody else. You go see a show. You're not impressed, so you start training.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I can do that. It'd be fun. And then that's just the life cycle of it.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. I think people need to stay on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out and methodically search out people that could actually be legitimate pro wrestlers. I'll say this a lot as a joke, but it's really not a joke. Like, what I need are entertainers. I need people that are athletes.
Yeah.
I need guys with rap sheets. I need criminals.
Yeah.
Criminals that just have no other options in life.
Yeah.
I
Last
don't
chance.
And what I'm not going to go out and seek are nerds with doll collections that are infesting locker rooms. I don't give a shit how many Pop Funkos you got. No one does.
All right.
Yep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go talk to every every high school football coach I can, and say, hey, who's that one kid that you've had in the last 5 years that you never could get a hold of? Who's that one kid that was just a little too wild, that was just a beast on the field, but never had the grades, never had the family support, never had the vision to go get a degree?
Yeah.
And I think, it might take 2 years, but I think we'll be able to put together a pretty solid crew of guys that could actually be entertaining. And the other reason too, every community has a bully. I want your bully. Whoever your bully is in your hometown, you tell me who that is. I want to talk to him. I need him.
That's awesome.
Because here's why. That notorious dude around town that you just know not to mess with because he's a little bit touched in the head, he's just a little bit off. Those make good wrestlers. And those guys come with a built-in fan base because everyone knows, like, oh, that's that dude that did such and such, or he did this or he did that.
Right.
You're going to want to pay your ticket to see him do that to somebody else.
Yep.
Or you want to pay the ticket to see the big bad Mamma Jam that's been around for 10 years do whatever he did to him.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I got my own ways of thinking. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, me and you've talked about it before. You've you always got your thinking cap on when it comes to new ideas and stuff like that. When it comes to the wrestling business, and I love that. It sounds like you've always got ideas going on. I was kind of talking to my wife the other day, and I was like, he has so much that he's already came up with in his head that he just has to put into a show, and it's awesome to see and hear you talk about it.
Yeah, it's coming. I mean, we just got to be patient. I mean, I could just be mad at the world like I was for the last 5-6 months, is because when I came back, I wrote 4 seasons of TV. Already had it, and I went around, I watched for like a year and just started scouting, knowing who was on the scene, who was good, who could work, who could tell stories, who had good characters and gimmicks that we could do something with.
Yeah.
And I've got just the wildest, craziest, and like I said, we got to start telling the stories that are actually relevant to the real world and what's going on in their lives that people can relate to. So
right.
When we can actually get people's schedules together and get the right people on the same card at the right time to be able to film this stuff and put it together, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Because it's gold. It's absolute gold. I honestly think we could be a top 5 promotion, and just based on the storylines alone. And, my dream for 20-something years is to get all of us indies on the same page, get us all working together.
Yes.
Together.
Yeah.
And I'm that one thing I would used to say in my promos when I was in the ring doing my 5-minute challenge was, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. That's just the character. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, where there's 2 kind of people in this world: those that walk the walk and those that talk the talk. So what are you? Are you walking or are you talking? Come on up. Who wants to challenge me? And so I need to walk the walk myself. So I go out, I give the olive branch out. I try to work with everybody. I'm going to have heat with some folks. They're not going to like what I do or how I do it and whatever.
Yeah.
We just move on. And if you have something that's a similar vision, come on board. Let's create a territory. I want a territory all the way from Iowa to Texas, where we're all traveling around. We're we got like one major champion, and then we have probably a pool of 25 to 30 good workers that we can make jobs for people.
Yeah.
Get syndicated television. But there's so much fragmentation and so many chiefs and not enough Indians. I don't know if it'll ever work, but I'm going to try. I want to walk the walk. I don't like people that just talk the talk. I'm going to walk it, and I'm going to do my best. I'm spending stupid money to do it. I don't have kids. I don't have family. I got nothing I'm going to leave this world. So I might as well do this and see where it goes.
Man, this is your kid.
It is a baby.
It's an expensive baby, it sounds like, though.
all kids are expensive.
Oh, yeah, believe me, I know. I got 2 of them that are preteens, and they're already killing me.
Maybe that's why people are so sensitive to whatever their ideas are and what they do is that, you sprout it up from a seed and you put so much time and effort and energy in to make it grow.
Yep.
And make it be something that not just you're proud of, but your fans are proud to say, hey, I'm a Crown Championship Wrestling fan.
Yeah.
It means a lot to me. Or I'm a WFC fan, or Mid-States, or MWA up in Iowa. I went to WWX in Kansas a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I finally put eyes on them, and there's some good dudes up there. There's some that don't need to be anywhere near a wrestling ring, but most indies have that because there's just not enough good talent with each promotion. So that's just, like I said, what I've always done. I went around, cherry picked the best, put them together, and it's been a winning combination. I don't plan to stop that. I'm planning to expand it. I think this recession is just going to murder and just kill indie wrestling. And maybe that's with football. Maybe that's what they're planning on, people not being able to have the money to go tailgate, not being able to buy the season tickets.
Right.
That they'll stay at home and watch TV and get more money for ads.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But if that's the case, then, wrestling's going to be there too, because that was the thing that I saw when I kind of made this choice to kind of start coming back around. Is that, JJ invited me to a show and they did Siloam, being the Battle Royal. We kind of did a little salute to one of my good friends that had passed away. And I just saw it was a different locker room, it was a different vibe, a lot of good kids. That I was like, man, I need to give back. That's part of my responsibility to this. Is I need to teach them a little bit what I got. And then I had money sit in my pocket. I was like, I'm kind of bored. I need to do something with it. What am I going to do, like pay my debts off? Hell no. Hell no. So then COVID hit, everything shut down.
Yeah.
All traveling acts, bands and plays, anything you go see entertainment wise just stopped abruptly. Pro sports are going woke. They're killing their crowds, killing their fan bases. Right. With that BS.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then also there was more wrestling on TV at that time than there had ever been.
Right.
You had 5 or 6 different national promotions that were on at some point. And I was like, this is the time. Yeah. Like if indie wrestling is going to claw back any kind of market share right now, if we wait 3 years, it'll be gone. If we wait even now 2 years, and I think we're seeing the culmination of that is, at that time, indie wrestling was still running. Arkansas had to shut down like 25% capacity, so the numbers just didn't work. I'd went and scouted some venues that would have been great. They still may, but they were really hurting to get people in the doors, and were big enough. And I was like, oh, we can make this work, and just really never did. But still there, trying to burn those bridges with business owners. But
yeah,
But so I just think the recession is going to just anything entertainment wise. If you don't have a good value, people aren't going to pay for it. The extra money's not. And I've already seen that. Where fans are like, I don't think I got the money to come to the show. And I'm like, hey, don't feel bad. Don't feel obligated to come every time. Come when you can. Right. We're going to still give you the same level of product. And just don't put yourself in any bind. Where you got to choose. Do I buy groceries this week or do I go to wrestling? By all means, every time go to wrestling.
That's right.
Yeah,
Loyalty, man.
Live in your car. I got to see if you thought I was going to say something different and be a nice guy.
Yeah, bringing out the hillside. I love it. Yeah.
I'm to wrestling. I got all this merch now. I spent $3,000 getting merch made.
Right. You gotta make something off of this now.
Exactly. Caps and patches and stuff. But.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to get some of that merch. I've been eyeballing it every time that you've posted something about it. I've tried to repost some of it on my Facebook page and everything like that. So, I try to.
Cool, I appreciate it. Getting the word out is very helpful.
Yeah.
We're just gonna, like I said, we're all gas, no brakes. When others falter, we're gonna hammer the pedal down.
There you
I've
go.
got a very specific, very measured and planned course of action that you'll see from Crown.
Yeah.
Hopefully it works. I think I got a winning combination.
Yeah.
If these places that we partner with, if they'll listen to me, they'll make crazy money. They'll fill their gym, but they got to do the work.
Yeah.
You can't skip steps. That's the thing about promoting anything. You cannot skip steps.
No.
And you're learning that with your podcast. You grow it organically.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to keep staying steady and consistent with what you have done. And tip of the hat to you, because most podcasters by their 10th show, they're already bored with it. They didn't automatically get 1 million downloads. So, I'm just a piece of crap. I'm not good at this. Well, no one's good at anything at first.
No.
You learn by failure, and you get better by failing and just sticking with it, and going, not just going through the motions, but going through it, actively learning, picking up every little thing you possibly can to make your product better. And I'm looking forward to see how you keep growing it. I think you got something there.
Man, I really appreciate you saying that. It's a lot of hard work, but I love doing this. I think I found my passion, and it's this. So,
well, diversify. Been too heavy on wrestling.
Yeah.
Let's see some other interest from you.
I've got
other folks do that too.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that, and I've got a lot of wrestlers that I have. That I'm going to be having on and stuff like that. But in the next few months, you're going to see more diversity. I've got people who is a marriage counselor, for one, a men's marriage counselor, and he's not just like a normal one. He is like, so a woman deserves a man who can do this for her. And so he kind of tries to help coach these guys to be the man that the wife deserves. That they're not just a lazy guy sitting there. They're actually doing what they're supposed to do as a husband. I thought that would be kind of interesting to have on here.
Absolutely.
Masculinity
is not toxic.
No, it's not, unless you're the Johnnies. So,
right.
And then you've got, let's see, I've got a bunch of musical guests that I have lined up, especially in November. And I think I've got some in October, maybe a few in December as well. I'm going to take a little bit of a hiatus right around the holidays. But
make sure you bank back some episodes so you can keep releasing one.
Yes, that's one of the guys that I work with.
Especially during the holidays when people may be off work and they're hanging around the house.
Right, yeah. I got a guy that I work with that we're talking about doing some. I've had him on before. We did a WrestleMania episode with him and actually my son's stepdad. And we were actually have become pretty good friends. And he's actually,
I love that.
Yeah,
you gotta be good co-parents.
Exactly. And he's actually the one who invited me and to our first Crown Championship show.
Well, I'm gonna give him a hug next time I see him. Let's point him out.
I definitely will.
Oh, next show. We haven't even talked about that.
Yes.
Before we cut loose, let's do that. That's important.
Yeah, I want to give you that opportunity to talk about him.
Next up on the Crown list will be October 8th, West Fork, Arkansas. Those are shows I'm really proud of. I think it'll be great. That's going to be called. Let's pay it forward. Our pay it forward shows are free. Awesome. And why they're free is because, they're going to be showcases for trainees and new guys. And we're going to have a couple new folks that you haven't seen Crown yet that I think will surprise people. We'll have 2 chicks from Oklahoma making their pro debuts.
Oh, cool.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
And the main event on that one's going to be Justin Lee versus Alex Royal.
Oh, cool. All right.
We'll have Alex Royal. We'll have John Cross in his corner. We'll have Fuel and Anarchy. Fuel just turned heel in his hometown. I love it. He knocked it out of the park. There have been other promoters that I've been asking for years. Hey, turn heel in your own promotion, in your own hometown. Turn heel. It's a great story. You have to tell the whole cycle of wrestling. He did it. He finally did it, and it was so good. And so they're going to be doing like a vets versus rookies angle that I've been wanting to bring on forever. So we'll have them taking on a couple guys from Oklahoma. They'll making their debut as well. I think they're brand new groom trainees. Brandon will be in the house. Stephen E will be in the house on that show. Then we got 2 weeks later, back to Siloam Springs, October 22nd, Siloam Springs Community Building right downtown. It's been a great home for Crown. And
Yeah.
that, I think Joe said last week, yep, that's the main event, Groom versus Big Joe. Why that's happening, you're just going to have to tune in and find out.
All right.
Tell the story in steps, not leaps. Can't give you the whole bag right now. We have a darn good card there. We're doing a mullet contest October 22nd.
Did you
anybody
say
can do it.
you said a mullet contest?
Yeah, mullet contest.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So anyone that you know that has like that Kentucky waterfall, send them my way. You can sign up. It's free to be a part of it, but you got to buy a ticket to get in the show.
All right.
And we're going to give away prizes, cash, gift cards.
Okay.
What we're doing on that, the mullet contest is going to be judged on 3 things. One is going to be mullet quality,
Uh-huh.
showmanship,
There you go.
and crowd response.
All right.
So we're going to give them like a minute of a song to go out and just, we're going to run the lights and smoke and all that. We're going to give them a minute to go just do a dance or do whatever. Just get out in the ring and just work it. Just work it. And part of showmanship, there's 3 subcategories. See if I remember them all. Costume,
Mm-hmm.
confidence,
Mm-hmm.
choreography. The
There
3
you go.
C's of mullet contesting.
I can't wait to see that.
That'll be fun.
It'll
be fun. We also got a date set December 3rd. That venue may be wavering. They're afraid I'm going to put too many people in the building. So I want to hold off on announcing exactly where because we could change that. And I told her, like, yeah, straight up. It's like, I'm going to get as many in here as I can. Like, we're going to pack it. Like, we will. So that's causing some hesitation.
That
Working
sounds
on
like
the
a
show.
compliment to you, though, and to Crown.
Absolutely. And I'm working on another one, maybe New Year's Eve. Something like
Okay.
that. Also have dates set in Fort Smith.
Mhm.
Got February 11th and July 8th, Fort Smith, Riverfront Pavilion.
Okay.
As I'm able to book further out in Fort Smith, we will. And we're just keep moving. Like I said, we'll have some Kansas dates coming up as well. And you'll probably see it sneak into Oklahoma.
Awesome. Sounds like you're going to stay busy, man.
Might as well. What else am I going to do in my life?
Right?
I'm not going to watch TV and collect dolls. I guarantee you that.
you ain't going to start with the Funkos?
You know what? I actually put a bid on the Funko auction today.
Yeah?
25 cents. That's as high as I'll go. But it's He-Man with Battle Cat.
Okay. I actually did a He-Man episode not too long ago.
So I'm the height of let's see what's the word I'm looking for. See, I can't think. I'm a hypocrite. That's what the word is. I'm the height of hypocrisy. I trash all these Funko people, and if I can get me a 25-cent one, I kind of want to do it to be like, ha ha ha. How much are you getting for this? I'll take your $30.
Well, I have to say I'm actually a Funko guy. I've got a bunch of them right behind me right now.
All right, we're done. I'll see you. Bye.
Yeah, I just recently got into it, but so I was born in '88, so I grew up with the Power Rangers and stuff like that, and they have been a hot commodity here lately as Power Rangers Funko Pops, and so I've kind of been like, okay, I'm gonna get in this, and so I've started collecting.
You know
them
why all these like old school vintage toys are worth crazy money these days, right?
because people like me pays crazy money for them.
Well, yeah, it's our childhood when we loved life and things were fun, when a year was actually a year.
Yeah,
And now we have money. We got jobs.
Yep.
We might actually own a fourplex and get some rental money every week. So
There
every
you go.
month, and or we're getting properties given to us from our grandparents or parents, and that transition of wealth from the boomers to Gen Xers. It's in force, and we're just doing stupid shit with our money that our parents never could give us. So we're giving it to ourselves and then some.
right. Well, I mean, I grew up. I had, I think, 2 Power Rangers toys. I had the white one and his head flipped over and stuff, and I had a blue one. But now I'm able to. They have like collecting series that come out with that, and I'm like, okay, I gotta have this. So yeah, you're right. I have adult money now, and so now I have adult toys. So
Talking about that, me and my Blazers and trucks and cars and good Lord.
yeah,
We never grow up. And I never want to. I
No.
don't.
Where's the fun in that?
Ain't none.
Yeah.
Ain't none. You get one shot in this life, so you got to make the most that you can of it. Never settle. Always
right.
keep learning. Always keep educating yourself, and just keep building skills that either you can use for, making some money on the side, little side hustle here and there,
Yep.
or to save yourself money.
Yeah.
Learn how to fix that leaky faucet. Change a breaker out.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, is there anything else that you would like to tell the people before I get you off of here?
CrownProTickets.com. That's
Crown
where you
Pro
go to get tickets to the Crown shows.
All right. And where can they follow you at on Facebook and Instagram and all that fun stuff?
Look for Crown Championship Wrestling.
All right. And I will be posting stuff about it.
We've got an Instagram page. I'm a marketing guy, but I'm also 45 years old. So a lot of this stuff that you could be doing for like TikTok, and I won't use TikTok because it's owned by Chinese. I'm not going to stick my information. I mean, I should. There's 30 billion TikTok users out there.
Well,
Yeah, maybe we'll make some burner accounts.
There you go.
We'll make burner accounts. We'll make up names, make up social security numbers and addresses. And yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll make a burner account. We'll see you at Crown TikTok. I'll let you run that, Jared.
all right. Sounds good to me.
As long as you can give us a support video every week, we'll be fine.
Yeah. I try to do, man, I try to do the TikTok thing, and the most I get is maybe 200 or 300 views on anything that I've done on there. That thing's hard to navigate.
Great show.
Yeah.
We're too old.
Yeah, I
Not
think,
interested.
I guess so. But I'll keep with Facebook.
I mean, what's a 13 or 14-year-old kid care about anything we do? I mean,
Yeah.
I could tell you how to do your taxes. I could tell you how to change a tire. I mean, but do I really? And also, lip syncing. That's not my generation.
No,
Play the guitar. Actually sing a song. Don't just mouth words.
exactly.
Don't just mouth words. You ain't doing nothing. You're not creating. You're just being a loser off someone else's off of someone else's talent.
Riding coattails.
I said it.
All right, man. Well, hey, it's been great talking to you on here, and I'm definitely going to have you back on.
Yep, we'll do it again for sure. It was fun. It's a good time.
It was.
Maybe the next one we'll go somewhere and do like a live one. Set the cameras up.
That sounds great.
Get some stogies, get some beers or something, and just get real swanky with it.
Love it. All right, man.
You. Thanks for everything you do.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Have you ever wondered what the top 10 most streamed 90s songs are? Or what about the top 10 highest paid dead celebrities? Maybe the top 10 most common phobias? Hi there, I'm Nick, host of the Tennis Podcast. Every episode, me and my various sidekick hosts share trivia, fun facts, and hot takes as we try to guess each other's top 10ish list. Here's a little preview.
When he dresses up as a girl bunny, he drives Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam crazy with lust.
Mr. Monopoly's actual legal name, Rich Uncle Pennybags.
And it turns out people will just shock a guy to death if someone in a lab coat asks semi-nicely.
Chickens outnumber humans more than 2 to 1.
It is the only R-rated film to gross $1 billion.
With over 175 episodes and counting, there's sure to be a top 10 list that tickles your weird little fancy just right. Listen to Tennis Podcast now on any podcast app. That's 10ISH Podcast.
Hey there, friends. Interested in another podcast to listen to between episodes? Well, you're in luck. Come check out Bloody Babbles podcast. We are a gaggle of babblers who talk of true crime and other gory wonderment. New episodes are released every Tuesday, and you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are streamed. Happy babbling, my friends.
All right, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed that episode with Christopher Allred. Had a lot of fun talking to him. And like I said at the beginning, after we got done, we probably talked for another 45 minutes. So it's a good time talking with him. He's a good guy. So I've got some pretty cool episodes coming up over the next few weeks. I know that I told you guys that I was going to be having the Iceman, Howard Moritz, on this next week. He got a hold of me and said that he's not going to be actually able to make it. So I had to change things up a little bit. And I have something that I feel is very unique that is going to be on my show. And this is a guy named Mike Whitla. He is how should I put this? He creates metal and rock music for children. So he has a YouTube page called Howdy Tunes. They get somewhere around 10 million views a day. He's had over 1 billion views on YouTube, and he's all the time getting new views on there. And he has a new album that's going to be coming out for kids. I've actually listened to some of this music, and it's pretty cool. So I'm really excited about having this guy on to kind of talk about how he got into this. And just letting you guys hear something different. You know, I know that I've had a lot of wrestling on the show, and I'm going to continue to have a lot of wrestling on this show, but I'm trying to diversify it a little bit. And I hope that you guys enjoy what I'm bringing to you. So the week after the Mike Whitla episode, I will be having on MJ Bell. He is a referee for Game Changer Wrestling. He also does refereeing out of Texas and I believe the Oklahoma area as well. I haven't had a referee on yet. I've had ring announcers, I've had commentators, I've had wrestlers, I've had owners and promoters on here, but I've never had a ref. So this is going to be a first one for me, and I'm very excited to bring him on. The week following that, I have Philip Douthit. He is the men's marriage counselor. I am looking very much forward to talking to him. I think he'll bring some unique perspectives to the show. And then at the end of the month, I talked to one of them today. I talked to Johnny Lightning and confirmed that they will be in studio at the end of the month with me to record. I will have Toxic Masculinity, that Johnny's in my garage recording with me. So I am very excited about that happening. So I've got some cool stuff coming on. I've got some stuff down the road that I'm not going to talk about yet, but you guys want to stay tuned to this because we have some really cool stuff in store on this show. Yeah, so if you guys want to follow me on any of the social medias, you can do so by following me on Facebook, and that's at IYGADAP. That is the acronym for If You Give a Dad a Podcast, or as I like to say, IGADAP. You can also follow me on Instagram, and that's at Give a Dad a Podcast. You can also follow me on Twitter, and that's DadPodcast11. Follow me on any of those. That way you can keep up with what's going on the show. If we're having anything special going on, I will be having some special episodes that will be airing that will be on different days coming up over the fall. And I don't want you guys to miss out on that. If you guys want to send me a line, you can do so by sending me an email at giveadadapodcast@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. I love talking to my listeners. I love hearing what you guys have to say. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. And as you're listening to this episode, rate it and review it. Tell me what you think of this episode. And if you do like it, share it with your friends and share it with your family. Share it with your coworkers, even your enemies. Let everybody know about this show. Because If You Give a Dad a Podcast, I believe is for everybody. So I'm going to bring this show to a close. I'm so thankful for everyone. I thank you for your support, and I can't wait to bring you more content. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Bye. If you enjoyed our show, come back next week. Come on, guys. You know you want to come back. You might get some laughs. Happy Labor Day weekend, folks.